Open your fridge right now. You'll probably see it, that familiar red can. Coca-Cola, the world's most famous drink. A logo so trusted that some countries use it to measure how modern they've become. But here's the thing nobody talks about. Coca-Cola isn't just your favorite soda. It's a quiet supply chain monster that doesn't just sell sugar water. It quietly owns the water, the sugar, the factories, the bottling plants, and sometimes even the politicians who decide who gets to drink what. Most people think Coke is just a drink on a shelf. A can you grab on a hot day, a splash of fizz at a party? But behind that fizz is a machine so big that it's been called the world's largest consumer of commercial water, bigger than most countries. They run 900 bottling plants in over 200 countries. In India alone, Coke runs dozens of massive bottling plants that draw millions of liters of fresh groundwater every day. And while villagers argue about who gets the last drop, the trucks keep rolling. But water is just part of it. Think about the sugar. Coca-Cola is one of the biggest sugar buyers in the world. They lock down sugar supplies in Brazil, India, Thailand, giant contracts that squeeze farmers while keeping rivals out. You can switch soda brands all you want. Odds are, your new drink is bottled in the same plant, sweetened by the same sugar refinery, maybe even trucked by the same local partner. Because Coke doesn't sell drinks, it sells a system that traps the entire supply line. And here's where it gets even wilder. A lot of Coca-Cola's bottling isn't done directly by Coke. They use a franchise model. Local bottling giants like Coca-Cola FEMSA in Latin America or Coca-Cola European partners do the dirty work. But Coke controls the brand, the syrup, the secret formula. They call the shots on who bottles what, who pays whom, and who gets cut off if they step out of line. If a local bottler rebels, good luck. Coke can starve them out by turning off the syrup tap. So how did Coke get this much power without people noticing? One word, marketing. For a century, Coca-Cola has sold happiness, refreshment, fun. Santa Claus in a red suit? Coke helped cement that look in ads. Polar bears on TV every Christmas? That's Coke, too. While other companies brag about profits, Coke sells nostalgia. And while you're busy loving the brand, they're building supply deals behind your back that make it nearly impossible for small local competitors to break through. Take water. In parts of India, entire villages have accused Coke of draining groundwater tables dry to keep bottling plants running. In Kerala, a plant once drew so much water that wells ran dry, crops failed, and protests erupted for years. The local government finally forced that plant to shut down, but across the border, Coke simply opened new ones. Same strategy, same trucks, same water tap, different zip code. And when droughts hit, guess who still gets priority to keep the fizz flowing? And the sugar game is just as hidden. Sugar is cheap when you buy it by the ton, but only if you have the power to squeeze suppliers. Local farmers say big sugar buyers like Coke lock them into deals that pay just enough to keep them going, but never enough to break free. Some entire coastal towns in Brazil exist mainly to grow sugarcane for global soda brands. Switch the drink, same cane. Coke doesn't grow it, but they control it with money. It gets wilder. Coke isn't just about soda anymore. They own water brands like Dasani and Smartwater. They own juice, tea, even dairy in some countries. Each new drink is another tap on the same water supply that local communities fight for every drought season. Meanwhile, when plastic waste hits the news, Coke pledges to recycle more, but quietly stays the world's biggest plastic polluter year after year. Because when your whole model is selling billions of single-use bottles, going green is just a slogan. Here's a trick they don't teach you in business class. Coke doesn't actually own every bottling plant. They sell bottling plants when needed, then buy them back if it makes sense. In the US, Coca-Cola once spun off its biggest bottler, then bought it back for over $13 billion. Why? To tighten control when profits depend on every can reaching every store shelf, no excuses. If you control the tap, the bottle, and the trucks, you win every time. So next time you grab that cold bottle from a gas station fridge, remember, you're not just paying for a drink. You're paying for one of the smartest supply chain traps ever invented. Think about the competition. Sure, Pepsi exists, but Pepsi doesn't have Coke's global chokehold on bottling. They don't have 200-plus countries locked in with exclusive distribution deals that keep rivals off the shelf. In some regions, Pepsi literally pays local bottlers to get shelf space, while Coke's contracts ban stores from even placing Pepsi next to it. Want an example? In 2015, the European Union fined Coca-Cola for using exclusivity deals with supermarkets. Small shops were pressured to only stock Coke and nothing else, or risk losing discounts they needed to stay open. Coke paid the fine, and the machine kept humming. In the US, the FTC once forced Coke to loosen its iron grip on vending machines. Same story. A slap on the wrist, a promise to behave, but the contracts roll on. And it's not just sugar water anymore. Coca-Cola has investments in coffee chains, sports drinks, energy drinks, even plant-based milk companies. Each time they expand, they lean on the same water, the same bottling lines, the same trucks that ship millions of cans daily. You think you're buying something new, but the money trail goes back to the same boardroom. The genius is that Coke sells the same product, repackaged for every mood. Thirsty kid? Sprite. Sports fan? Powerade. Gym goer? Vitamin water. Need caffeine? Monster. Coke owns a big chunk. Trying to quit sugar? Diet Coke, Coke Zero sugar. Different name, same factory, same margins. But here's the darkest twist. Some of the world's most water-stressed places are also Coca-Cola's biggest growth markets. In Mexico, Coke is cheaper than bottled water in some regions, and people drink it daily, sometimes more than water itself. Diabetes rates skyrocket. Local governments struggle to supply clean tap water, but the Coke trucks keep rolling. In parts of rural Mexico, entire families buy crates of Coke every week because the water is unsafe. The company denies it's their fault, but who profits most when tap water fails? And when backlash hits? Coca-Cola's PR machine launches pledges. We'll be water neutral by 2030. But critics say those goals mean little when local farmers lose wells today while bottling plants hum on the edge of town. They donate to communities, fund green projects, sponsor local sports teams, but the trucks never stop. Because the trucks can't stop. The brand depends on scale. No scale, no profit. So the next time you crack open that can and hear the fizz, ask yourself, what else got drained to make that sound? Because behind the red label is a supply chain empire so big, you can't drink your way out of it. You just keep it going. But the biggest trick? They've done all this while staying beloved. While oil giants get boycotted, tech billionaires get grilled in Congress, and banks get blamed for recessions, Coca-Cola floats above it all. They're just a drink. They sponsor the Olympics. They hand out scholarships. They plaster their logo on your favorite sports team's jersey. If you criticize Coke, you sound like a buzzkill at a picnic. Because who wants to ruin the fun? Yet behind the polar bears and Christmas trucks is a corporation so good at hiding the hard questions that generations forget to ask. Who really owns the water? Who pays when rivers run dry? Who profits when a drought hits but the bottling line never stops? The answer is always the same. The world's favorite soda never runs out. The community might, but the cans don't. And while you debate single-use plastics, they quietly invest in new plants, new bottlers, new markets. In Africa, Latin America, Southeast Asia, places with booming young populations and weak tap water infrastructure, Coke plants pop up like clockwork. Every new bottling line means another guarantee that even if tap water is unreliable, the red can will always be cold. That's not an accident. It's strategy. Coca-Cola has also mastered the rebound trick. When people get too loud about sugar, they pivot. More bottled water, more healthy brands, more greenwashed labels. In the 2010s, sales of classic Coke dropped in some Western countries, but overall company profit rose. Why? Because while you switched to healthier choices, you didn't switch bottlers. The same trucks, the same plants, just new labels. A bottle of water that costs pennies to fill sells for the same profit as a can of Coke. The pipeline stays open no matter what you drink. And here's something wild. Coke doesn't even technically make most of what you drink. The secret formula syrup is theirs. The actual mixing, bottling, shipping is done by local bottlers who bear the costs and risks. If a market goes south, bottlers suffer. Coke collects royalties either way. It's like selling a printer and making billions on the ink cartridges. Same product, endless repeat buyers. Think this empire can be boycotted? Try it. Pepsi is the only real rival in many markets, but Pepsi has its own version of the same supply chain playbook. Smaller local soda brands often depend on Coke's infrastructure anyway. Some restaurants even pour Coke syrup from the same supplier that stocks their tea or juice. You'd need to switch your entire local supply chain to truly cut them out. And by then, they're already 3 moves ahead, buying new drinks, signing new deals, sponsoring your favorite sports league. So next time you stand in line at a gas station and reach for that red can, think about what you're really buying. It's not just sugar water. It's access to wells and rivers in villages you'll never visit. It's mega sugar plantations halfway around the world. It's secret deals with local governments that make sure the tap stays on for the trucks, even when it runs dry for everyone else. Behind every sip is an empire that can't afford to run out, so it never does. And that's why they stay loved. You see the logo and think of fun. They see the logo and think of power. Quiet, fizzy, unstoppable power that you can't live without, because you're not just drinking Coke. You're drinking the world's most hidden monopoly. So the next time someone says it's just a soda, tell them it's not. It's a lesson in how global brands get so big, so essential, that they can drain rivers while selling happiness, and we'll keep buying it, one sip at a time. This is Midnight Watch. Subscribe if you want more secrets billionaires and mega brands hope you'll never Google. Drop a comment. Who should I expose next? Because the next time you pop a can, remember, the fizz might fade fast, but the empire behind it never does.